A sleeping princess cursed for centuries, a hero's shadow that materializes as the final test, and a tragic legend so profound that every princess born into the royal family would bear the same name forever. Zelda II: The Adventure of Link isn't just Nintendo's controversial sequel, it's a game that established some of the franchise's most enduring mysteries, introduced concepts that would echo through decades of future titles, and revealed a backstory so dark it would haunt Hyrule's royal lineage for generations. This is the complete lore and story of the black sheep that changed Zelda forever. When Zelda II: The Adventure of Link released in Japan on January 14, 1987 for the Famicom Disk System, players expected another top-down adventure like the original Legend of Zelda. Instead, they discovered something radically different, a side-scrolling action RPG hybrid that bore little resemblance to its predecessor's gameplay. But while the mechanics departed dramatically from expectations, the story provided something the original game merely hinted at: deep, tragic lore that connected directly to the first adventure, while expanding Hyrule's mythology in profound ways. The game takes place several years after the events of The Legend of Zelda. Link, now 16 years old, has remained in Hyrule helping with the kingdom's restoration after Ganon's defeat. The land is recovering, slowly returning to peace after the chaos the Demon King left behind. But circumstances are about to dramatically change for the young hero. As Link approaches his 16th birthday, he notices something strange. A mark appears on the back of his left hand, exactly resembling the crest of the Kingdom of Hyrule. This mysterious symbol wasn't there before, and its sudden appearance troubles the young warrior. Concerned about the mark's meaning, Link seeks out Impa, the nursemaid of Princess Zelda who aided him during his first adventure. When Impa sees the symbol on Link's hand, she's shocked and frightened. She immediately recognizes its significance, understanding that this mark signals something that has been awaiting fulfillment for centuries. Without explanation, Impa takes Link to the North Castle, to a tower that houses a door magically sealed for generations. This door has remained locked for so long that its purpose has faded into legend, known only to select members of the royal family who pass down its secret through the ages. Impa places the back of Link's hand, the one bearing the crest, against the sealed door. The magical barrier responds to the mark, recognizing Link as the chosen hero, and the door opens for the first time in centuries. Inside the revealed chamber, Link discovers a sleeping maiden lying on an altar. The room has been preserved through magic, untouched by time, waiting for this moment. Impa reveals the maiden's identity. She is Princess Zelda, but not the Zelda whom Link rescued from Ganon in the first game. This is a different Princess Zelda, an ancient ancestor who lived long ago, and she is the origin of the titular Legend of Zelda itself. The story Impa tells Link is one of tragedy, betrayal, and a curse that has lingered for countless years. Long ago, during an era when wise monarchs of the royal family used the Triforce to govern Hyrule in peace and prosperity, a great king ruled the land. This king possessed profound knowledge about the Triforce, the sacred relic left by the three golden goddesses Din, Nehru, and Furore. The Triforce consisted of three pieces: the Triforce of Power, the Triforce of Wisdom, and the Triforce of Courage. Only when all three pieces are united does the Triforce show its true power, granting the wishes of whoever touches the complete relic. The king understood that the Triforce of Courage, the third piece representing the virtue embodied by heroes, was too powerful and too dangerous to leave accessible. If evil forces claimed all three pieces, the consequences would be catastrophic. To prevent this, the king made a momentous decision. He hid the Triforce of Courage in the Great Palace, located in the Valley of Death, on Hyrule's largest island. The palace was protected by powerful guardians and sealed with magic, ensuring that only someone with extremely noble character could ever claim it. The location was known only to the king and to one other person, his daughter, Princess Zelda. When the king died, his son, the Prince of Hyrule, began searching for the hidden third piece of the Triforce. He knew his father had concealed it somewhere, and he desperately wanted to assemble the complete Triforce to rule Hyrule with its full power. However, the location had been imparted only to his sister. The prince questioned Princess Zelda repeatedly, demanding she reveal where their father had hidden the Triforce of Courage. The princess refused. She understood her father's wisdom in keeping the Triforce hidden, recognizing that not everyone who seeks power deserves to wield it, even those of royal blood. Frustrated and angered by her sister's refusal, the prince sought help from a magician close to the throne. This wizard offered to use his powers to force the truth from Princess Zelda, believing magic could break her resolve where words and threats had failed. The magician confronted the princess, demanding she reveal the Triforce's location. When she again refused, he issued a terrible ultimatum. Tell him where the Triforce of Courage is hidden, or be cursed into eternal sleep. Princess Zelda, demonstrating courage as profound as any hero who would follow, remained silent. She would not betray her father's trust, would not reveal the secret that could lead to catastrophe if the Triforce fell into wrong hands, even if those hands belonged to her own brother. Her refusal to speak sealed her fate. In his anger and frustration, the magician began casting a powerful sleeping spell. The surprised prince, perhaps not expecting the wizard to actually follow through with such a drastic curse, tried to stop him. But the magician fought off the prince and continued chanting the spell, his rage overriding any sense of restraint or reason. The spell was wild, more powerful than the wizard could properly control. And when he finally completed the incantation, Princess Zelda fell where she stood, collapsing into a sleep from which she would never naturally awaken. The magical backlash from the uncontrolled spell killed the magician immediately. He died at the moment the curse took effect, his own magic turning against him due to its wildly arcing nature. The prince, suddenly confronted with the horrifying consequences of his actions, was filled with profound remorse. His sister lay before him in eternal sleep, the magician was dead, and the prince himself was responsible for bringing about this tragedy. Unable to reverse the sleeping spell, the only person who knew how was the wizard who had just died. The prince could only grieve. In his grief and guilt, the prince made several decisions that would echo through history. He had Princess Zelda placed in the castle tower's hidden chamber, laying her on an altar and sealing the room with magic. He hoped that someday, somehow, she would be awakened, that the curse might be broken by some future hero. To ensure this tragedy would never be forgotten, and perhaps in penance for his role in causing it, the prince decreed that all female children born into the royal household from that point forward would be named Zelda, in remembrance of his sister and her sacrifice. This decree established a tradition that would continue for thousands of years into Hyrule's future. Every princess born to the royal family would be named Zelda, creating an unbroken line of princesses all bearing the same name, each one named in memory of that ancient princess who chose eternal sleep rather than betray her father's trust. The Princess Zelda whom Link rescued from Ganon in the first game was one of these descendants, carrying on a tradition whose origins she may not have fully understood. Impa explains to Link that the mark on his hand identifies him as the hero chosen to finally awaken the sleeping princess. The crest appeared because the time has come at last for the curse to be broken, for the Triforce of Courage to be claimed, and for the ancient Princess Zelda to wake after centuries of magical slumber. Impa gives Link a chest containing 6 crystals and ancient writings that, she says, only a great future king of Hyrule can read. These documents are written in an archaic script that no one has been able to decipher for generations. When Link examines the scroll, something remarkable happens. Though he has never seen this ancient language before, he finds that he can read it perfectly, as if the words are speaking directly to him. The ability to read this forgotten script confirms his identity as the chosen hero. The scroll explains that the 6 crystals must be placed into statues within 6 palaces scattered across Hyrule. These palaces guard the path to the Great Palace, where the Triforce of Courage has remained hidden since the old king sealed it away. Only by placing all 6 crystals can the seal on the Great Palace be broken, allowing the chosen hero to enter and claim the Triforce of Courage. The scroll makes clear that only by uniting all 3 pieces of the Triforce of Tower, which Link recovered from Ganon in the first game, the Triforce of Wisdom, which has always been Princess Zelda's to hold, and the Triforce of Courage, hidden in the Great Palace, can Link awaken the sleeping princess from her centuries-long slumber. The complete Triforce possesses the power to break even the most powerful curses, including the sleeping spell that has held the ancient Zelda for so long. As Link learns all this and prepares to begin his quest, a new threat emerges. Ganon's minions begin attacking once again across Hyrule. Though Ganon himself was defeated in the first game and his physical form destroyed, his followers remain loyal to their fallen master. These servants of darkness have discovered a terrible ritual. They believe they can revive Ganon by sprinkling Link's blood over the Demon King's ashes. If they succeed, Ganon will return to life, and all the sacrifices made to defeat him will have been for nothing. The servants of Ganon spread across the land, seeking Link specifically. Their goal isn't just conquest or chaos, it's targeted assassination. They must kill the hero and use his blood in their dark resurrection ritual. This creates a dual urgency for Link's quest. He must claim the Triforce of Courage to awaken Princess Zelda, but he must also complete this mission before Ganon's followers can capture and kill him. The entire kingdom's fate hangs in the balance once again, and this time the hero fights not only to save a princess, but to prevent the resurrection of the most powerful evil Hyrule has ever known. Link's journey takes him across a vast Hyrule unlike the one from the first game. The landscape has changed over the years since Ganon's defeat. Death Mountain, which was located in the north during Link's first adventure, has somehow shifted to the southwest, becoming a complex rocky labyrinth rather than a simple mountain region. The world is not landlocked. Link must travel overseas to move from one side of Hyrule to the other, crossing dangerous waters and exploring islands that dot the sea. The land is divided into Western Hyrule and Eastern Hyrule, separated by vast bodies of water. Towns dot the landscape, each with citizens who need help, wise men who can teach Link new magical spells, and clues about the locations of the 6 palaces. Unlike the solitary adventure of the first game, Link now interacts extensively with Hyrule's people, learning their stories, completing quests for them, and gradually assembling the knowledge and abilities needed to reach his goal. The 6 palaces Link must infiltrate are formidable dungeons guarded by powerful monsters and deadly traps. Each palace houses a crystal pedestal where Link must place one of the 6 crystals Impa gave him. These palaces also serve another purpose. They're testing grounds that push Link to his limits, forcing him to grow stronger, learn new techniques, and master magic spells that will be essential for his ultimate confrontation in the Great Palace. Along his journey, Link learns 8 magical spells from wise men hidden throughout Hyrule's towns. These spells represent the first appearance of magic in the Zelda series, introducing a gameplay mechanic that would become standard in future games. The shield spell creates a magical barrier that reduces damage Link takes from enemies. The jump spell allows Link to leap far higher than normal, reaching ledges and areas otherwise inaccessible. The life spell restores Link's health. The fairy spell transforms Link into a fairy, allowing him to fly across gaps and fit through narrow passages. The fire spell enables Link to shoot beams of flame from his sword. The reflect spell creates a magical barrier that deflects certain attacks back at enemies. The spell breaks curses and reveals hidden passages. And the Thunder spell calls down lightning to devastate everything on screen. Each spell requires magic power to cast, drawn from Link's magic meter, another first for the series. As Link progresses, he can find 4 magic jars hidden throughout Hyrule, each permanently expanding his magic capacity by 1 container. This allows him to cast more spells before needing to restore his magic power. Beyond magic, Link also gains experience in this adventure, a unique element that has never been used in any other canonical Zelda game since. Defeating enemies grants experience points that Link can use to increase his attack power, making his sword strikes more devastating, his magic power, reducing the cost of spells, or his life power, allowing him to take more damage before falling. This RPG-style leveling system can raise each attribute to a maximum level of 8. Once an attribute reaches maximum level, further XP gains in that attribute award Link extra lives instead of increasing stats. The enemies Link faces are far more aggressive and powerful than in his first adventure. Moblins, Octoroks, and other familiar monsters return, but they're joined by new threats. Iron Knuckles, heavily armored knights with devastating sword techniques. Wizrobes who teleport around battlefields while casting spells. Focus, agile bird warriors who strike from above. Dyrus, axe-wielding crocodilian beasts, and many others. Each palace introduces tougher enemies, culminating in a powerful boss guardian that Link must defeat to place his crystal. The first palace's boss is Horsehead, a mounted knight that charges Link with a massive mace. The second palace features Helmet Head, an armored warrior wielding a ball and chain. The third palace's guardian is Rebenek, a mounted knight who dismounts mid-battle to continue fighting on foot. The fourth palace holds Karuk, a wizard who can only be damaged when Link reflects his own magic back at him. The fifth palace's boss is Guma, a massive warrior with incredible strength. The sixth palace features Barba, a dragon that emerges from lava pools to breathe fire.
After placing all 6 crystals and opening the path to the Great Palace, Link enters the most dangerous location in all of Hyrule. the Valley of Death. The Great Palace sits in the deepest, most remote corner of Hyrule's largest island, surrounded by the harshest terrain and deadliest enemies in the kingdom. The palace itself is a labyrinthine nightmare, the ultimate test of everything Link has learned throughout his journey. Deep within the Great Palace, Link confronts the Thunderbird, a massive avian creature crackling with electrical energy. This guardian serves as the penultimate test, assaulting Link with lightning attacks and tremendous power. Only by using the Thunder spell, turning the creature's own element against it, can Link damage the Thunderbird enough to defeat it. After an exhausting battle, the Thunderbird falls, and Link believes his quest is nearly complete. But as Link approaches the chamber where the Triforce of Courage awaits, the room suddenly darkens. The lights go out, plunging everything into shadow. Link's own shadow on the floor begins to move independently, twitching and twisting in unnatural ways. Then, in a moment that has become one of gaming's most iconic scenes, the shadow pulls away from Link's body entirely, rising up and taking three-dimensional form. Standing before Link is his exact duplicate, Link's shadow, the first appearance of Dark Link in the entire Zelda franchise. This dark doppelganger mirrors Link perfectly. It wears the same green tunic, wields the same sword and shield, possesses the same combat techniques. Link's shadow is Link in every way except one crucial detail. It exists only to test whether Link is truly worthy of claiming the Triforce of Courage. This is the final trial, established by the old king who hid the Triforce in the Great Palace. To prove he possesses the courage, skill, and determination required to wield such power, Link must defeat himself, face his own strength turned against him, and emerge victorious. The battle against Link's shadow is brutally difficult. The Dark Reflection knows every technique Link knows because it is Link. It blocks attacks with the same precision, strikes with the same patterns, jumps with the same timing. Fighting one's own shadow means confronting perfect equality. No inherent advantage, no weakness to exploit, nothing but pure skill and determination. The shadow's agility is remarkable, dodging and blocking with ease while aggressively swinging and thrusting its sword, rarely dropping its guard. Players discovered various strategies to overcome this challenge. Some found that the shadow, despite its near-perfect mimicry, has one slight flaw in its jumping behavior. By positioning Link in the corner and repeatedly stabbing forward, players could sometimes catch the shadow as it attempted to jump in, turning an incredibly difficult fight into something more manageable. Others relied on the shield spec to reduce incoming damage, using Link's defensive magic to outlast his dark counterpart. Regardless of strategy, the battle remains one of the franchise's most memorable encounters, a hero forced to prove his worth by defeating himself. When Link finally lands the decisive blow, Link's shadow falls through the floor and disappears, dissolving back into darkness. The room brightens once more, and an elderly sage appears, the Triforce Keeper who has guarded the Triforce of Courage for generations, waiting for the chosen hero to arrive. The sage presents Link with the Golden Triforce of Courage, the third piece that has remained hidden since the old king sealed it away centuries ago. With all three pieces of the Triforce finally united, Link possesses the complete relic for the first time in Hyrule's recent history. The Triforce of Power, reclaimed from Ganon, the Triforce of Wisdom, held by the royal family, and now the Triforce of Courage, earned through trials that tested Link's strength, wisdom, and courage at every turn. The complete Triforce shines with golden light, its true power awakens by the union of its three pieces. Link returns to the North Castle, entering the sealed chamber where the ancient Princess Zelda has lain sleeping for untold centuries. Holding the complete Triforce, Link channels its power toward the cursed princess. The Triforce's divine energy washes over her, breaking the sleeping spell that has held her for so long. The magical slumber ends at last, and Princess Zelda opens her eyes for the first time in generations, awakening in an era far removed from the one she last knew. The curse is broken, the Triforce of Courage has been claimed, Ganon's servants have been prevented from resurrecting their dark master. The ancient tragedy that led to a princess's sacrifice and established a naming tradition for the entire royal family has finally found resolution. Hyrule is saved once again, and the legend of Zelda, the story of the ancient princess who chose courage over betrayal, has been given the happy ending she deserved. The ending scene shows Link and the newly awakened Princess Zelda together, the complete Triforce glowing before them. A curtain falls, and behind it, the silhouettes of Link and Zelda embrace, suggesting a romantic connection between the hero and the ancient princess he saved.
It's an unusually direct romantic gesture for a Zelda game, hinting that perhaps Link's reward for his courage and perseverance isn't just the Triforce or the salvation of Hyrule, but also love. Zelda II: The Adventure of Link's story contributions to the franchise cannot be overstated. This game established the Triforce of Courage, completing the sacred trinity of power, wisdom, and courage that would define the series forever. It introduced the concept that Ganon could be revived or return after defeat, creating the justification for his reappearances throughout the timeline. It showed that the royal naming tradition of calling every Princess Zelda stems from a specific tragic event in history, giving the title Legend of Zelda literal meaning within the lore itself. Most significantly, Zelda II introduced Dark Link, Link's shadow made manifest, a dark doppelganger representing the hero's own power turned against him. This concept would return in future games, becoming one of the franchise's most iconic elements. Ocarina of Time features Dark Link as a mini-boss in the Water Temple, where he springs from Link's reflection and battles him in a surreal, fog-filled chamber. The Palace of the Four Swords in A Link to the Past features 4 Dark Links as optional bosses. Four Swords of Ventures makes Shadow Link a central antagonist, with Ganon creating endless duplicates to wreak havoc across Hyrule. Dark Link appears in Oracle of Ages, Spirit Tracks, A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, and numerous other games, each time bringing the same challenge: a hero must face himself. The game also introduced the Magic Meter, Link's capacity to cast spells, which became a standard feature in A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and most subsequent 3D Zelda games. The concept of Link learning new abilities and techniques from wise mentors scattered across the world became a recurring element in future titles. Even the idea of a final boss that tests Link by mirroring his own abilities returned in Link's Awakening with the Shadow Nightmare, which forms partly from Link's inner nightmares. Despite these massive contributions to Zelda lore, Zelda II remains controversial among fans. Its radical departure from the original game's overhead perspective and exploration-focused gameplay alienated many players. The side-scrolling combat, while innovative, felt disconnected from what players expected from a Zelda game. The RPG elements of experience points and level grinding have never returned to the main series, suggesting even Nintendo recognized they didn't quite fit the franchise's identity. Most notably, the game's difficulty is legendary. Enemies are aggressive, damage is punishing, and death sends players back to the starting point, forcing them to trek all the way across Hyrule again.
This extreme difficulty, combined with the gameplay changes, earned Zelda II its reputation as the black sheep of the franchise. Many players never finished it, stopped by the punishing challenges and unforgiving design. Series creator Shigeru Miyamoto has stated that he considers The Adventure of Link the only Zelda game he views as a failure, primarily due to hardware limitations that prevented the team from fully realizing their vision. Yet, despite this mixed reception, Zelda II sold 4.38 million copies worldwide, making it the 5th best-selling Nintendo Entertainment System game of all time. While this fell short of the original Legend of Zelda's 6.51 million copies, it still represented tremendous commercial success. The game proved financially viable, even if artistically divisive. Zelda II's timeline placement adds another layer of intrigue to its story. According to Hyrule Historia, the official timeline document released in 2011, The Adventure of Link takes place in the Fallen Hero timeline, the branch of history where Link fails to defeat Ganon in Ocarina of Time. This timeline represents Hyrule's darkest reality, where the hero of time fell in battle and Ganon claimed the complete Triforce before being sealed away by the Seven Sages in what became known as the Imprisoning War. In this timeline, A Link to the Past occurs when Ganon's influence begins leaking from the Dark World, requiring a new Link to defeat him and use the Triforce to restore peace. The Oracle games follow, then Link's Awakening, then A Link Between Worlds, and several others. The Adventure of Link occurs near the end of this timeline branch, taking place several years after the original Legend of Zelda game, where Link defeated Ganon and rescued Princess Zelda. This placement means the ancient Princess Zelda who sleeps in the castle tower fell under her curse during an earlier era of this timeline, possibly during the Golden Age before the Imprisoning War, or during the era of decline that preceded Ganon's revival in the first game. The exact timing remains ambiguous, but what's clear is that centuries separate the sleeping princess from Link's era, making her awakening a reunion across vast stretches of history.
The Sleeping Zelda's curse and the tradition it established also adds tragic poetry to the timeline. Every Princess Zelda in the Fallen Hero timeline, including the one Link saves from Ganon in the first game, bears that name because of an ancient princess's courage and sacrifice. They carry forward a legacy they may not fully understand, named in remembrance of a tragedy that occurred generations before any living person's memory. Looking at Zelda II from a modern perspective, its contributions to the franchise far outweigh its controversial gameplay choices. The game established crucial lore elements that remain canon decades later. It took risks with its mechanics, even if those risks didn't always pay off. It told a story of sacrifice, courage, and ancient curses that resonated thematically with the series' core values. And it introduced Dark Link, giving future games one of their most compelling recurring challenges: the enemy that knows all the hero's techniques because it is the hero. The adventure of Link in Zelda II isn't just about saving a princess or claiming the Triforce. It's about confronting oneself, about proving worthiness not through destiny, but through trials to test everything a hero claims to be. Link doesn't automatically deserve the Triforce of Courage simply because a mark appeared on his hand. He must earn it by defeating 6 Palace Guardians, mastering 8 magical spells, and ultimately facing his own shadow in the ultimate test of courage and skill. The story also explores themes of consequence and legacy. The Sleeping Zelda suffers for centuries because of her brother's ambition and a wizard's rage. Every subsequent Princess Zelda carries her name as a reminder of what courage and sacrifice mean. Link must risk his life to prevent Ganon's resurrection, understanding that defeating evil once doesn't guarantee peace forever. The battle continues across generations, requiring new heroes to rise and face the same darkness in different forms. These themes of cyclical heroism, of courage tested through self-confrontation, of names and legacies carrying weight across centuries, became fundamental to how Zelda games tell their stories. The idea that each game features a different Link in Zelda, separated by generations but connected through recurring patterns of heroism and sacrifice, owes much to how Zelda II established the Sleeping Princess as a separate character from the Zelda of the first game, creating the precedent for multiple Zeldas across history. That's the complete lore and story of Zelda II: The Adventure of Link, a game that challenged players with brutal difficulty and controversial gameplay changes, but gave the Zelda franchise some of its most important lore, its most iconic dark enemy, and a story of ancient tragedy finally resolved after centuries of waiting. From the sleeping curse that established why every princess bears the name Zelda, to the Triforce of Courage hidden in the Great Palace, to the shadow that tests whether a hero is truly worthy, this black sheep of the franchise earned its place in Zelda history by daring to be different while respecting the mythology it was building. And sometimes that's what legends are made of: courage to take risks, even knowing some might fail, in service of creating something that endures long after the credits roll.